Here we are again, friends. Here we go, 571. A handsome young monk in a wood told a girl she could cling to the good. She obeyed him, and gladly he repulsed her, but sadly, "My dear, you have misunderstood." Oh, we're still in abuses of the clergy. Nothing sexual there. 572. The dean undressed, with heaving breast, the bishop's wife to lie on. He thought it lewd to do it. Let's start over. The dean undressed, with heaving breast, the bishop's wife to lie on. He thought it lewd to do it nude, so he kept his old school tie on. I love it. 573. Maybe I'll just stop saying the numbers and just start reading. It's starting to annoy myself. The book of God's beneath you, the man of God's above you. Salvation pole is in your hole. Now wiggle your ass to save your soul. I like that one a lot. I feel the urge to put it on a t-shirt. Oh, a new topic. Zoophilia? Zoophilia? Zoo, Phily. There was a young man of a dare who thought he would diddle a mare. He climbed up a ladder and jolly well had her with his backside a wave in the air. There was a young man of Australia who went on a wild bacchanalia. He buggered a frog, 2 mice and a dog, and a bishop in fullest regalia. Throw another shrimp on the barbie. That is my poor Australian dialect. There once was a sacred baboon that lived by the There once was a sacred baboon that lived by the river Rangoon, and all of the women that came to go swimming he'd bang by the light of the moon. Oh, I bet that was interesting. There was a young man from Bangor who was tired and said to his whore, "If you'll only roll over, I'll get me dog Rover, and you can have 6 inches more." What a good person. Now that's a dog lover. There once was a man of Belfast whose balls out of iron were cast. He'd managed somehow to bugger a sow, thus you get pig iron at last. Oh, I always wondered where that came from. There was a young man of Bengal. There was a young man of Bengal who went to a fancy dress ball. Just for a stunt, he dressed up as a cunt and was fucked by a dog in the hall. I bet he was surprised. A habit obscene and bizarre has taken a hold of Papa. He brings home young camels and other odd mammals and gives them a go at Mama. The Communist Party's Earl Browder was fucking a girl in a howdah. The elephant's trunk somehow got in her cunt, which they felt made it terribly crowded. It's very clever how they rhymed all those words. There was a young gaucho named Bruno who said, "Screwing is one thing I do know. A woman is fine and a sheep is divine, but a llama is numero uno." Si, senor. Es numero uno. Not numero dos or o tres. And my goodness me. I hit the space bar and stopped recording. You'd think I'd know what I was doing by now. Said an old taxidermist in Burrell, as he skillfully mounted a squirrel, "This excessive tail is obstructus to phallus, one much better off with a girl." Said an old taxidermist in Burrell, as he skillfully mounted a squirrel, "This excessive tailus obstructive to phallus, one's much better off with a girl." Well, I butchered that. Let's move on. There was an old man of the Cape who buggered a Barbary ape. I didn't know apes could talk. Take it from the top again. There was an old man of the Cape who buggered a Barbary ape. The ape said, "You fool, you've got a square tool. You've buggered me arse out of shape." A fisherman off of Cape Cod said, "I'll bugger that tuna, by God." But the high-minded fish resented his wish and nimbly swam off with his rod. Ask not what your country can do for you. It's my half-assed JFK impression. God rest his soul, he lost his head. There once was a man of Cape Cod. No, it's Cape Nod. There once was a man of Cape Nod who attempted to bugger a cod, when up came some scallops and nibbled his bollops, and now he's a eunuch, by God. Minnehaha was washing her clothes, unexpectant of sorrow or woes. A snake, a sidewinder, crawled in her behind her, wiggled round and came out of her nose. A sailor indulged in coitus with a cow of the genus of Cetus. Piscatologists thundered, biologists wondered at the anchor tattooed on the fetus? Where do we get fetus out of this whole thing? Or is it foetus? I don't know. Let's just move on, shall we? A man who was richer than Croesus enjoyed being sucked off by feces, till a vicious old hound thought his steak was ground round and chewed it completely to pieces. Is feces a type of dog? Canine? I don't know. I'd look it up, but I'm too lazy. There once was a fairy named Cyril, who was had in a wood by a squirrel, and he liked it so good that he stayed in the wood just as long as the squirrel was virile. I like that's very rhythmic. There once was a clergyman's daughter, who detested the pony he bought her, till she found that its dong was as hard and as long as the prayers her father had taught her. She married a fellow named Tony, who soon found her fucking the pony. Said he, "What's it got, my dear, that I've not?" Sighed she, "Just a yard-long baloney." You know, I've seen pictures and video. Oh my, how did the young ladies even manage to walk afterwards? It's beyond me. It's beyond the pale. That Harvard done down at Del Gym? Oh, wasn't it nasty of him? With a whole harem randy, the sheik himself handy to muss up a young camel's quim. Ugh, can you imagine all the sand getting in all your bits and pieces and cracks and whatnot? Glad I don't live in the desert. The eminent Mrs. DeVue was born in a cage at the zoo, and the curious rape which made her an ape is highly fantastic, if true. I'm just going to say it's true. There was a young girl of Dundee who was raped by an ape in a tree. The result was most horrid, all ass and no forehead, 3 balls and a purple goatee. Oh, here we are with Latin, something I did not study. Pine insolentus inevit, rectum simioli quem scivit, prolis infrontata, horrida glandata, et semper violare cupivit. I'm sure it's something dirty. The prior of Dunstan St. Just, consumed with the erotical lust, raped the bishop's prize fowls, buggered 4 startled owls, and a little green lizard that bust. Poor little lizard. There once was a young girl of Eau Claire, who once was attacked by a bear. While chased in a field, she tripped and revealed some meat to the bear that was rare. I bet it was. Nice pink roast beef. Maybe with some au jus? Maybe the bear gave her some of his au jus. Oh, coincidentally, there was a young man of Eau Claire who had an affair with a bear, but the surly old brute with a snap of her snoot left him only 1 ball and some hair. Well, these things happen, you know. When Theocritus or Critus guarded his flock, he piped in the shade of a rock. It is said that his muse was one of the ewes with a bum like a pink hollyhock. It's funny. We had a bachelor party for my cousin years ago, and they didn't have a blow-up doll, but they did have a love ewe, a little female sheep. So we bought it for the party, the bachelor party, and we put some lube in it, and people would play with it. Anyway, I digress. There was a young lady named Florence, who for fucking professed an abhorrence, but they found her in bed with her cunt flaming red and her poodle dog spending in torrents. Poodles are nice. They don't shed. They're hypoallergenic, I believe. There once was a fellow named Fogg, 2 G's, who attempted to bugger a hog. While engaged in his frolics, the hog ate his bollocks, and now he's a eunuch, by God. Well, no guts, no glory, as they say. Turning the page, oh my, this paper is very high quality. If I can only manage to turn the page, to quote Bob Seger. Oh, here we go. One morning, Mahatma Gandhi had a hard-on and it was a dandy. So he said to his aide, please bring me a maid or a goat or whatever is handy. There once was a man of Geneva who buggered a black bitch retriever. The result was a sow, 2 horses, a cow, 3 lambs, and a London coal heaver. I just like the musicality of it, okay? I'm going to do it again, just for me. There once was a man of Geneva who buggered a black bitch. Oh, I buggered it up. Who buggered a black bitch retriever. The result was a sow, 2 horses, a cow, 3 lambs, and a London coal heaver. I know I'm off key. Please, I know. There once was a young peasant named Gorse, who fell madly in love with his horse. Said his wife, you rapscallion, that horse is a stallion. This constitutes grounds for divorce. There was an old man from near here, got awfully drunk upon beer. He fell in a ditch, and son of a bitch of a bulldog fucked him in the ear. Ooh, I hope his member wasn't too large, otherwise that could be quite painful. It's quite painful. The Mahatma on Mount Himavat opined as he diddled a cat. She's a far better piece than the Viceroy's niece, who has also more fur on her prat. I like that one, too. Let's face it, I like 99.9% of all of this. A foxhound retired from the hunt, for he found that his lobes had grown blunt to the scent of the fox, but he still would sniff rocks for the mystical fragrance of cunt. It is quite mystical, that's very true. There was a young man with the itch, who, because he was not at all rich, had to harbor his tail in any female, a duck or a sow or a bitch. Well, do what you have to do. There was a young fellow named Jim, whose wife kept a worm in her quim. It was silly and smelly and tickled her belly, and what the hell was it to him? Jim, mind your place, mind your business. Leave her alone, she's finally happy. A spinster in Kalamazoo once strolled after dark by the zoo. I'm doing like a poor Chicago. The bulls, the bears. She was seized by an ape and raped by an ape, and she murmured, a wonderful screw. Maybe a Michigander. A spinster in Kalamazoo once strolled after dark by the zoo. She was seized by the nape and raped by an ape, and she murmured, a wonderful screw. Or maybe, a wonderful screw. Wasn't really murmuring. Oh, my goodness. And she added, You're rough, yes, and hairy, but I hope, yes, I do, that I marry a man with a prick half as stiff and as thick as the kind that you zookeepers carry. Well, dare to dream, right? Dare to dream. I'm going to have a sip of water. Oh, my goodness. What page are we on? I don't even know. It's so hard to tell these. Oh, here we are. Oh, my God. There's a lot of more book left. All the lady apes ran from King Kong, for his dong was unspeakably long. But a friendly giraffe quaffed his yard and a half and ecstatically burst into song. I wonder what the song was. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my unspeakably long shaft. Here we go, moving on. Said a lovely young lady named Lake, pervertedly fond of a snake. If my good friend the boa shoots spermatozoa, I just butchered it. Let's do it again. Said a lovely young lady named Lake, pervertedly fond of a snake. If my good friend the boa shoots spermatozoa, what offspring will leave in our wake? And another young lady would make advances to snake after snake. Though men she had met got her diaphragm wet, she wanted her glottis to shake. A glottis? Is it the epiglottis I'm getting? Is that the little thingy that hangs down? In a meadow, a man named Llewellyn had a dream he was bundling with Helen. When he woke, he discovered a bull had him covered with bollocks as big as a melon. There was an old Scot named McTavish who attempted an anthropoid ravish. The object of rape was the wrong sex of ape, and the anthropoid ravished McTavish. I wasn't even attempting a Scotch accent. Just some indiscernible bad dialect. There was a young man, a Maltese, who could even screw horses with ease. He'd flout natural laws in this manner because of his dong which hung down to his knees. Thus spake an old Chinese mandarin. There's a subject I'd like to use candor in. The geese of Pekin are so steeped in sin, they'd as soon let a man as a gander in. I know, bad dialect, but I do the best I can. Here's to old King Montezuma. For fun he would bugger a puma. The puma in play clawed both balls away. How's that for animal humor? I'd say it's very delightful. There was a young lady of Mott who inserted a fly up her twat and pretended the buzz was not what it was, but something she knew it was not. There was a young lady named Myrtle who had an affair with a turtle. She had crabs, so they say, in a year and a day, which proves that the turtle was fertile. Hope it wasn't a snapping turtle. Oh, they're dangerous. Oh, the stories I could... I'm lying, I have no stories. I think I saw one on the interwebs one time, and I was like, ooh, you're gonna get hurt. There was a young man from Nantucket, took a pig in a thicket to fuck it. Said the pig, oh, I'm queer. Get away from my rear. Come around to the front and I'll suck it. Whee! Naughty little piggy. There once was a laddie of Neep who demanded everything cheap. When he wanted to screw, there was nothing to do but take out his passion on sheep. And today that man's name is... I don't know, think of somebody really wealthy. There was a young man of Newminster Court, buggered a pig, but his prick was too short. Said the hog, it's not nice, but pray take my advice. Make tracks or by the police you'll be caught. An elderly pervert in Nice, who was long past desire for a peace, would jack off his hogs, his cows, and his dogs, but his parrot called in the police. Oh, why would you drop a dime on him? My goodness, he's going to feed you now. Goodness, why? I don't understand. It's like is it the allegory? With the scorpion on the frog's back crossing the water. It's in my nature. I can't help it. It's in my nature. All right, here we go. There was a young man named O'Rourke. Heard babies were brought by the stork. So he went to the zoo and attempted to screw one old bird, and result didn't work. The notorious Duchess of Peels saw a fisherman fishing for eels. Said she, "Would you mind shove one up my behind? I am anxious to know how it feels." There was a young man in Peru who had nothing whatever to do. So he flew to the garret and buggered the parrot and sent the results to the zoo. Yes, all in the interest of science and research, of course. A gruff anthropoid of Piltdown had a strange way of going to town. With maniacal howls, he would bugger young owls and polish his balls on the down. There was a young Nubian... Oh, my goodness, what voice is that? Frightened myself. There was a young Nubian prince whose cock would make elephants wince. Once, while socking the sperm to a large pachyderm, he slipped, and he's not been seen since. Oh, well, what a way to go. There was an old hostler named Rains, possessed of more bullocks than brains. He stood on a stool to bugger a mule and got kicked in the balls for his pains. Well, these things happen. In the words of Nazareth, I can't even get it. Oh, God rest its soul. Love hurts. Okay. There once was a girl named Miss Randall who kept a young bear cub to dandle. She said, "In a pinch, this bear cub 6-inch is almost as good as a candle." There was a young lady of Rhodes who sinned in unusual modes. At the height of her fame, she abruptly became the mother of 4 dozen toads. Oh, my. That's my stomach. Oh, trigger alert. Here comes the N-word. It's just the word. Oh, get over it. A nigger in fair St. Domingo, which means Sunday in Espanol. A nigger in fair St. Domingo, being blasé and worn, said, "By jingo, blast all women and boys, I'll try some new joys." So he went out and fucked a flamingo. Well, good on you. You can catch... Oh, wait, they're not fast. They look awkward, the way they stand on that one leg. I guess I would tackle one. There you go, and they can't run away. There was a young man of St. John's who wanted to bugger the swans, but the loyal half-porter said, "Pray take me daughter, them birds are reserved for the dons." Oh. There was a young man of St. Paul whose prick was exceedingly small. He could bugger a bug at the edge of a rug, and the bug hardly felt it at all. That's tiny. A hermit who lived on St. Roque had a lily perfected to poke. He diddled the donkeys and meddled with monkeys and would have done worse, but it broke. Perhaps he had an extended warranty and they could repair it or replace it. There was an old man of Santander who attempted to bugger a gander, but that virtuous bird plugged its ass with a turd and refused to such low taste to pander. Well, one must have standards. There was oh my goodness, I'm hearing the sound of the book cover and it's driving me mad. There was a young man from Toulouse who thought he would diddle a goose. He hunted and bunted to get the thing cunted, but decided it wasn't no use. Double negative, but we'll ignore that. There was an old person of Sark who buggered a pig in the dark. Almost sounds like the grandpa from The Simpsons. Hey, Homer! Eh? There was an old person of Sark who buggered a pig in the dark. The swine in surprise murmured, "God bless your eyes, Do you take me for Bolton or Park? I'm not sure I know what that means. What do you mean you're not sure? I'm not sure. No, I am sure. I don't know what it means. Where are we? We're turning the page. Yeah. There once was a sergeant named Schmidt who wanted a crime to commit. He thought raping women was a little too common, so he buggered an aged tomtit. There was a young lady named Schneider who often kept trysts with a spider. She found a strange bliss in the hiss of her piss as it strained through the cobwebs inside her. When Brother John wanted a screw, he would stuff a fat cat in a shoe, pull up his cassock and kneel on a hassock, trying his damnedest to mew. There was a young man of Seattle who bested a bull in a battle. With fire and gumption, he assumed the bull's function and deflowered a whole herd of cattle. I guess we're on a little Seattle kick here. There was a young girl from Seattle whose hobby was sucking off cattle. But a bull from the south left a wad in her mouth that made both her ovaries rattle. Oh, Gracie Allen, remember her? With George Burns? Say goodnight, Gracie. Good night, Gracie. Burns and Allen, TV show, black and white. Many moons ago. If Gracie Allen were the last of her sex, and I were the last of mine, I'd ease my tool by fucking a mule or even a porcupine. Oh, that's so mean. Poor Gracie. A rooster residing in Spain used to diddle his hens in the rain. I give them a bloody good time when it's muddy, which keeps them from getting too vain. My rooster's not good. I have a friend who does a very excellent rooster. Cock-a-doodle-doo. There, how's that? There once... the book's getting carried away. There once was a Dutchman named Spiegel who slept with an elegant beagle. As they crawled into bed, he wistfully said, "It'll be much better if you wiggle." Said the famous composer R. Strauss, when asked why he buggered a mouse, "Though its cunt is quite tiny, on occasion its hiney will stretch quite as big as a house." There was a young lady named Sutton. Oh, I have a story. There was a young boy that we grew up with named Gary Sutton. We called him Scary Gary. He was very pale, and he had a problem shitting his pants. We'd say, "Sutton, you shit your pants, go home," and he would. Said the famous composer R. Strauss, when asked why he buggered a mouse. Oh, I just read that. There was a young lady named Sutton who said as he carved up the mutton, "My father preferred the last sheep in the herd. This is one of his children I'm cutting." Oh, I hope he wasn't emotionally connected, so. Okay, that was 6:52. I think we'll stop there. Thank you for listening. If you've gotten this far, bless you. No more reading the numbers. It's just interrupting the flow. I don't know why I did it for so long. There's something clearly is wrong with me. But thank you for listening.